You are tuning in for episode 1 of my new channel, Gout Man. Well, the reason I decided to start this channel is, well, I have gout. And I've had it for about 11 years, so during this first video, I'm going to explain a little bit about my history with gout and also why I decided to make the channel. So just to give a brief history of how I got gout, it's hereditary in my family. Both my grandparents on my father's side had gout. And at the age of 23, I was going through special warfare training in the United States Navy, and I started developing, typical, effects from gout. Swollen ankles and feet, stiff left big toe, and I would run on it, and of course it would just make it worse. Well, one day, one of my instructors, and obviously, like I said, this is, special forces training, so they're not exactly very kind to you as you're going through training. He looked down at my ankle and asked me if I'd broke my leg during the obstacle course, and of course I hadn't, but my ankle had been killing me for 2-3 days. And I actually told him it happened before that day, and that it was before the obstacle course. And so he sent me off to medical, and as soon as I got to medical, I had this old crusty Navy captain, guy had probably been in for 30-35 years. He took one look at my ankle at the time, was really swollen, and he said, "Oh son, that's not a broken ankle, you got gout." And of course, at 23 years old, I had no idea what gout was. I didn't know my grandparents had it at the time, and immediately got disqualified from special warfare training. So that's originally how I got gout. So I was actually on active duty in the Navy whenever I got diagnosed. I got to stay on active duty, but it did affect my career quite a bit. I still got to deploy in Afghanistan in 2010, 2011, but I had to prove that I had my gout under control. So if any of you guys have had gout, I'm sure most of the time, you've been prescribed allopurinol, which I have in this bottle right here. I was prescribed allopurinol. This is my allopurinol. This is my colchicine. And I have... over here somewhere I have my indomethacin. So I was prescribed those 3 things, and I was given, a basic chart that I was supposed to follow in terms of taking my tablets. But one thing I couldn't do was take the allopurinol, because every time I would start taking it, I would start getting gout attacks. So anyway, I brought it up to my grandmother, about 6 months to a year later, and she's, really got on to me for not starting my allopurinol and said, myself and your grandfather started taking it years and years ago. You just got to get through the first few months. But at the time I was on active duty, and I was really cared about my career. I'd already been robbed out of special forces training, so I decided not taking allopurinol, and I said, you know what, I'm going to try a natural approach. So for several years while I was in the military, I attempted numerous different diets, exercise strategies, you name it, to try to fix it. Didn't help. And I used to have some brutal gout attacks. I mean, at the end of my separation from the United States Navy, I actually got diagnosed with 40% of my overall disability was just from my gout. I used to get, anywhere from 10 to 20 attacks a year, just debilitating attacks where, and I'm sure a lot of you, that's watching this video know, sometimes these attacks would last, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And of course, the more you walk on it, the worse it makes it. So, I started trying other things such as apple cider vinegar, here we go, some tart cherry extract pills, and you name it. But nothing I tried was making it better. I would drink water all the time, and then after I got out of the military, the VA wasn't really a whole lot of help with my gout, and which in all reality is a little bit of my fault too. I should have started my allopurinol, but it was just very difficult to try to get on allopurinol and then try to do my job in the military at a high level when I'm on crutches, or I can't walk, or I'm on one of the little things where you put on your knee and you cart yourself around. So it was difficult for me at the time. So after I got out, of course, I took a very demanding jobs, and I noticed the more I was on my feet, especially long periods of time, it would sometimes trigger attacks. And so I tried. Let's say I did a 7-day water diet where I didn't drink anything but water to try to reset maybe my uric acid level. I got an attack right afterwards. I tried vegan for 6 months, and along with doing a vegan diet for 6 months, also didn't drink for 6 months. I really went all in on all natural, low purine foods. I still had 3 or 4 gout attacks over the 6 months. Tried vegetarian, I tried keto, I tried paleo. So no matter what diet combination I tried or how much water I would drink, I would still get gout attacks. Now, to be fair, I did notice whenever I would drink lots of water, no matter if I drank alcohol or not, if I drank lots of water, there's one thing that would kind of limit my attacks. Another thing I've really done, even now that I'm on allopurinol, is I've cut out sugar. A, for my overall health, and 2, I really do feel like high fructose corn syrup especially has a negative effect on gout. But again, these are all, affects everybody differently. There's some people who can eat, added sugar all the time. They don't get gout attacks, as many as you know. And there's some of us that get gout attacks by just looking at a steak and a beer. I'm lucky enough to where that doesn't really affect me all that much, but the frustrating thing is I don't know what does. So I've tried, every diet combination you can think of, no beef, no seafood. Like I said, I went vegan. I've tried it all. And some of you out there probably are sitting there thinking the same thing, that you've tried everything and it's not working. Well, this video is not to sell you anything, because that's not what I'm doing. I'm just literally, I want to make a video about my experience with gout. And so, one of the things I did finally about 3 months ago is I finally started allopurinol. I'm taking 300 milligrams a day. And I'm currently in Mexico, so it's a little bit easier for me to get my prescriptions. And I'm taking half of a 1 milligram colchicine every day, so about 0.5 milligrams of colchicine every day. So over the 3 months I've been doing this, I've only had 2 very minor attacks. Both of them I got knocked out within 24 hours, which was awesome. And so far kind of so good. I'm still on the wait and see, because like many of you, I've tried so many different things and nothing's worked. So I'm pretty excited about maybe the future. I've had so many things robbed from my life. I've had, Christmases, vacations. I mean, of course, I was in the military for a long time, so I was deployed for, a lot of this stuff anyway. And so when I got out, I had to miss time with my family. I've had to miss time with my friends. It's cost me relationships, because, I flat out couldn't, go out with a girl maybe I, just started to see. And I know a lot of you feel this pain. The United States got so strict with the opioids. I used to get prescribed 10 milligram hydrocodone for years. And then all of a sudden the VA cut me for like 4 years ago for absolutely no reason. I had a good job. I went in my VA appointment to get my prescriptions refilled. I was wearing a really nice custom fit suit. I had a good job in my my briefcase, and they just cut my pain medication again for absolutely zero reason. I mean, there was no I had no like suicidal thoughts or anything that you would attribute to them cutting my pain medication. Finish him. So that was very frustrating for me, because gout sometimes can be debilitating painful, where you sit there and think, like, do I want to pull out a gun and take care of myself, or do I want to saw my leg off, because it's the only way I think I can get relief? I mean, again, I know I'm preaching to the choir for some of you guys, but and gals out there, but it's so painful, and unless you have it, you just don't understand. And that part of my life was very, very frustrating, and actually part of the reason why I chose to go into entrepreneurship and start my own company was so I could be location dependent, because this is an attack on the United States healthcare system or a political type video, but I don't feel like the United States medical system is that good. In Mexico, I get better healthcare. I can go literally buy all my gout medication, including Tramadol when I have a really bad gout attack, all over the counter. I don't need a prescription. I've seen, dozens of doctors. I've seen 2 or 3 rheumatologists, and, no one's going to tell me something new that I don't already know. So So it does make it a lot easier in some of the countries that have a little bit more liberal policies when it comes to prescription medication, because going to the doctor and having them, especially if you have to go to a different doctor and they're like, well, did you know red meat and beer is bad for it? And it's like, look, man, like if you've ever been in this pain before, you know how bad it hurts. So it's like, of course I've Googled and tried to find out what caused this. So, I feel for a lot of you guys out there who have families and you're not location dependent and you're having to rely on the medical, healthcare in the United States. But, if you were like me and you've been hard-headed for a long time about trying allopurinol, maybe that's the go for you. I know Alan Bennett, who's on my in the Gout group I'm in on Facebook, which has been great, by the way, to connect with other people who's had like hereditary gout like me. Listen to his story. He started off, I think, taking like 100 or 200 milligrams a day, and then he was up to like 900, and he had to, apparently allopurinol quit working for him, so he had to, go to another medication. Hearing stories like that, it makes me feel a lot better about my situation, because, I don't want to tell Alan's story, but, if any of you guys are in the Facebook group, I believe it's just called Gout, or Gout group or something along those lines. He's got I'm gonna say a great story. I mean, it's a heartbreaking story about how, gout's affected his life. And so, anyway, to sum everything up, I've told you guys my story. I'll share some pictures and stuff as this goes on. And if you do have gout, or you're someone who has high uric acid level, I'm not gonna tell you I'm a doctor, because I'm not. But I do know a lot about gout, and I've had it for long enough, and I've had bad enough, flares over the years that I know, quite a bit about what works and what doesn't. Now, my advice doesn't work for everyone. I didn't start this channel to sell you anything. I'm telling you what's worked for me so far. But if you guys have any questions, or, please comment. Maybe there's some things you want me to talk about. I'd be more than happy to do so. We can do, maybe you guys want to see a video on what countries have, the most affordable medication you can get in the United States, or the UK or Australia. Maybe you guys want to see a video of where you can order from online. I don't know, but we will think of some fun things to talk about. But I appreciate you giving me a little bit of your time. Sorry, I'm a little stuffy today, but I'm excited about starting this channel. I want to go through the pain with you guys, because all of us who have been stuck on bed rest for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, all by ourselves. I mean, we know we've been there. So don't give up. I've been laying in bed sometimes where I thought this was the end. There's no way I can continue to live with this disease. But I've made it. And again, unless you have gout, like, you just really don't understand. So anyway. Again, thanks for your time, guys. Welcome to the channel. If you guys want to continue to see, videos that I'm gonna make, hit subscribe, hit that little bell button down there so you know when I have a new video out. And look forward to communicating with you guys. Thanks.